We're making a Lady Gaga doll cake, you guys! My name is JK Denim and today I get to show you how to make this Lady Gaga inspired meat dress doll cake. Now this dress is inspired by the Alexander McQueen dress that Lady Gaga wore to the MTV Music Awards. It looks crazy, so let's get started. To create this cake, the first thing I did was bake my cake in my doll cake pan. I'm gonna cut this into 3 equal layers and then just stack it with icing in between each layer. I'm using a cherry box cake and I just added a little bit of red food coloring. Actually a lot of bit of food coloring. Whenever you're trying to create red, you always have to put a lot of red food coloring. Now I gave my cake 2 coats of buttercream. Then using a paring knife, I had to cut a hole in the middle of my cake so that I could fit my doll in it. Now I draped my entire cake in a circle of white fondant. It's 14 inches in diameter. I love the word diameter. I don't get to use it very often except for doll cakes. I just enhanced all of the folds at the bottom of my cake. Now it's really important to enhance and make these folds look really nice, especially on this cake, because I'm going to be covering this with panels of meat fondant that looks like meat. It's just random shapes, so we need some consistency, and the consistency will come from these folds. The color of her hair was this really pale blue, and I was really lucky because I was able to find a doll with almost that exact same color. Placed my doll in the middle of my cake and then I wrapped her with some white fondant. Now I wanted to ensure that there was texture underneath the meat layer fondant. I don't even know how to describe this. Fondant meat layer. Layers of meaty fondant. But I wanted to ensure there was texture, so I took my fondant roller and I just added some indentations to add texture and make sure that this dress has, what? You guessed it, flow. That's always how I describe my doll cakes. Like, you gotta make sure the fondant flows. Once I was happy with the texture, I started to work on all of my meat. Now the meat dress that Lady Gaga wears is made of raw beef, I think, like steaks, probably a little bit of the sirloin. It was probably really smelly but also extremely incredible. And to create the meat effect, I'm actually using a lot of different colors of fondant. I started with some crimson fondant and then next to it I would add red fondant. Now meat has a lot of like connective tissue, so to create that I'm using pink fondant as well as thin little strips of white fondant. Looks like trash, I know. So the basic pattern was meat, connective tissue in the middle. That's what I was going for. Just rolled out all of my fondant into this gigantic meat looking shape. It looks like flesh, huh? That's crazy. And to give this like a more meaty texture, I decided to rip the edges off. I placed this on my dress at a 45-degree angle, but it didn't even really matter. Because you can't tell since there's so much texture with the connective tissue, and you can only slightly see the indentations I created before. Now using my sculpting tools, I just started to scratch the fondant to give it that meat texture. Like it just came out of the meat slicer. You know, we're slicing it really thin over here so it tastes good. Now I added texture to the connective tissue separately so that it would actually look like it was a slab of meat. I just wanted to make sure it looked different from the rest of the fondant. I repeated that process about 6 times, just enough to cover my entire dress. You see the consistency of the white fondant? It makes this look like Kobe beef, doesn't it? Ugh, it looks so good. Now for the top of the dress, I added smaller pieces of my meat fondant. I mean, I didn't tear the edges because I wanted the top to have more structure. I just overlapped 2 panels of fondant on top of each other to finish the top of the skirt. For the top of the gown, I actually strayed from the design a lot. And I went with like my favorite cut, which is like the deep V that is also backless. I don't know. I think that cut is so striking. I just created this with 2 very long triangles that I stuck to her bust area. Then I used a little bit of hair gel to tame her mane. And then to finish this off, I added a small piece of fondant to create her meat hat. I just used scraps that I got from the bottom of the dress to create the hat. And voila! My Alexander McQueen Lady Gaga meat dress was complete. It looks disgusting, but also gorgeous. How would you sit in that? They probably had to like replace the seats after she sat there. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Make sure you hit that notification button so you can see everything that is posted on the Genius Kitchen page, as well as all the videos I'll be posting here. I love you guys. I will see you very soon. Bye. Peace.